Hello students, so in the previous class we learned what is a Gauss's theorem, which gives us the flux through a sphere which was called as a Gaussian surface. So the statement of Gauss law was, it states that the total flux through a closed surface is 1 upon epsilon naught times the net charge enclosed by the closed surface. That is, the flux 5e electric flux was given by the total charge enclosed in the Gaussian surface divided by epsilon naught. It is 1 upon epsilon naught times the total charge. This was the statement which we saw for the Gauss's theorem. Now we are going to see various application of this Gauss's theorem to calculate the electric field at particular point. Okay, so you'll be given a charged body, okay, and around that charged body you'll be given a point, and at that point you need to find out the electric field. So we are going to use Gauss's theorem for finding that electric field. So the first application we have here is to find out the electric field at a point for an infinitely long, straight, uniformly charged wire. Okay, so let's write that down. Infinitely long, straight, uniformly charged wire. So here you are given an infinitely long, it's very long, infinitely long, it's straight, okay, and it is uniformly charged. So these are the three features of this wire. The first feature is that it is infinitely long, second feature is that it's straight, okay, and third feature is that it is uniformly charged. So such wire is given to you, okay, and you need to find out an electric field at a point P around such wire. So let us draw the figure first. Okay, so let us consider this is infinitely long, straight, uniformly charged wire. So this is infinite, okay, it will go on and on from both the sides. I've just taken a part of it, okay, and now I have a point P. Okay, let's consider this as a point P. This is my observation point at which I'm going to find out my electric field, calculate the electric field at this point, okay, for an infinitely long, straight, uniformly charged wire. So let's consider this is point P, which is my observation point at which I'm going to find out the electric field. Okay, so how the description will look like? You have to say, consider an infinitely long, thin wire with uniformly charged density. Okay, let us consider that the charge density is positive here, that is greater than 0. Okay, let's consider that your charge density is greater. So what is lambda? Lambda is the linear charge density. Linear charge density is the ratio of charge upon length, okay, which we have already discussed in the previous videos. Okay, so here it is plus lambda, it is greater than 0 we have considered, and this is in free space in the plane of the page. Let's consider, okay, let point P be the observation point at a normal distance r. So let's consider that the distance from here to here, okay, from here to here is r, that is from wire to the observation point is r, okay, and we need to find out the electric field at point P here. Let's consider that electric field as E at r, okay, it's a vector, so E at r, okay. So can you think of the direction of this electric field? So since it is a positive charge here, okay, the electric field is going to be radially pointing outwards. So your electric field direction is going to be something like this at point P, okay, since this is positive charge. If it was negative charge, it would point inside. Okay, that is the difference. This is your electric field vector which you got from here. Okay, so now looking at the symmetry of the problem, what is going to be the Gaussian surface in this case? Can you think of the Gaussian surface in this case? Obviously it is going to be a cylinder. While proving the Gauss theorem which we saw, okay, we had taken a point charge Q, correct, and we saw the Gaussian surface was a sphere. That is, if you consider a equal radius r, at that particular radius the value of electric field would be same, correct. If this was r1, if I take r2, it will be same again. So that forms a sphere, a 3D sphere, right, in all the sides. But here we have an infinitely long, straight, uniformly charged wire. So in this case, what is going to be your Gaussian surface? It is definitely going to be a cylinder. Okay, so let's draw a cylinder which exactly passes through this point P. Okay, let's draw a cylinder which exactly passes through this point P. Okay, so this becomes my Gaussian surface. Okay, and this point P, okay, lies at the Gaussian surface. Let's redraw it over here, P. Okay, yes, so this is my point P at which I want to find out the electric field. Okay, so let me mark this as my Gaussian surface. Okay, so now at every point on this Gaussian surface at radius r, the electric field is going to be same. Okay, so I get my electric field over here, I mean the Gaussian surface over here. Okay, so let's consider this is the cross-sectional area and the radius of this Gaussian surface is r. Okay, and let us consider that the length of this Gaussian surface be L. Okay, so now let us apply the Gauss law. So by Gauss law or by Gauss theorem, what can we say? We can say that the flux is given by, the flux coming out from this entire Gaussian surface is given by the total charge enclosed inside this Gaussian surface divided by epsilon naught. Okay, now first let us concentrate on this flux. Okay, so this flux which is coming out from this Gaussian surface is going to be from this cross-sectional area, from this cross-sectional area, and from the curved surface area. So let's say this surface is 1, this surface is 2, this surface is 3. So the total flux which is coming out from this Gaussian surface is going to be phi 1, phi 2 plus phi 3. That is the flux through surface 1, flux through surface 2, and flux through surface 3. Okay, but in this case, if you see, the total electric field which is coming out from this cross-sectional areas, that is this circular part and this circular part, is going to be 0, because this is a wire, correct, and it is a positively charged wire. So the electric field will be radially outward. It will be coming like this, correct, it will be coming like this, out from this side, from this side, from this side, and from the back side, all the circular sides, correct. It won't be coming out from the top face, it will be coming out from the bottom face. So E is equal to 0 for surface 1 and surface 2, and therefore the flux is going to be 0 for surface 1 and surface 2. Why? Because what is the formula for flux? Formula for flux phi is equal to E dot delta S by the definition. So since E is equal to 0, the flux will also be equal to 0 through these two surfaces. Okay, so the total flux which will be coming out from this Gaussian surface will only be because of surface 3, correct. So it is going to be phi 3. Okay, so let us find out phi 3 now. Okay, so phi 3 will be nothing but E dot delta S, correct, here also arrows. Okay, E dot delta S, that is E delta S cos of theta, where theta is the angle between E and delta S. Okay, so now we have considered electric field as ER, so you can put it as ER also, no problem. Now what is going to be the direction of area vector? Since this is a curved surface area and area vector is always taken normal to the surface outwards, the area vector will also point like this. So your dx vector will be like this again, correct, since it is a curved surface area, right? So at any point on that curved surface area, the area vector will be normal to that surface outwards. So your direction of electric field and direction of your area vector is going to be same. So indirectly your theta is going to be 0 in this case. Okay, so now it is going to be E delta S cos of 0, that will be 1. Okay, so now E into delta S is going to be what? From our geometry, okay, the curved surface area of the cylinder is given by 2 pi r into height of the cylinder. So it is given by 2 pi, the radius r, into height of the cylinder we have taken as L. So it is the flux through the Gaussian surface is given by E times 2 pi r L. So let's name this as 1. Okay, this is going to be your total flux which is coming out from the Gaussian surface. Okay, now coming to the next part, that is charge. Okay, we are going to see this. Fine. Okay, flux is done. Okay, epsilon naught is constant, so forget about it. So next is charge. So now we are told that this infinitely long straight uniform wire has a linear charge density. Okay, so linear charge density by definition we know is the total charge on the wire divided by the length of the wire. Now what is the length under consideration now? The length under consideration over here is L. Okay, so can you tell me what is going to be your Q from here? So Q is going to be lambda into L. So let's call this as 2. Okay, now what we are going to do next is that we are going to take our original equation phi is equal to Q upon epsilon naught and then substitute this phi and Q, okay, in this original equation. So let's take that equation phi is equal to Q upon epsilon naught, okay, and now let's substitute phi as E 2 pi r L and Q as lambda L upon epsilon naught. So if you see from here, L and L gets cancelled, so you get equation for E from here. So E is going to be 1 upon 2 pi epsilon naught lambda upon R. So this is the equation. I have just taken these terms down here and rearranged the terms. You get your equation for E. So this is basically your electric field at a distance of R, correct? So this is your electric field. If you see the figure, it is the electric field at a distance of R, that is nothing but point P from a infinitely long straight uniformly charged wire. Okay, so you can put it as, since we have denoted as ER, you can put it as ER also over here. So ER is 1 upon 2 pi epsilon naught lambda upon R. So now what you need to remember over here is, first, your E will be pointing outwards, okay, for a positive charge. If this plate is positively charged, your E will be always pointing outwards, and if your wire is negatively charged, your E will always be pointing inwards. Okay, so this is the thing you have to remember. And second thing is the relation between E and R. So if you see, E is inversely proportional to R. Okay, so E is inversely proportional to R. That means that if E increases, R is basically decreasing. Okay, as you go away from the wire, your E will go on decreasing. Okay, as R increases, as you move away from the wire, your E will go on dropping. Okay, so this is the second analysis you have to remember here. Okay, so next video we are going to discuss the next application, that is to find the electric field at a point, okay, near uniformly charged infinite plane sheet. So in that case, this charged wire will be replaced by a plane sheet. Okay, and we are going to find out the electric field at a point near it. Okay, so this is it for today's class. I'll see you in the next class.